I welcome all painting enthusiasts. You are with the School of Creativity, and I am artist educator Valeria Krylova. Today I suggest we draw cherries like these. We won't detail each cherry right now, so we can arrange them vertically like this. We are currently marking with these points. You can go up and down from the center. There's no need to make it too detailed. Cherries are already small as they are. A branch will be passing through here. Just from it, there will be two large clusters going out. We look at it in masses. Here, a mass of berries extends from one branch to the other. Again, we pay attention to the distance between the berries. And one more thing, if you are adding or removing berries, for example, when you are creating your bunch based on a photo, make sure that the berries are not arranged in a straight line. You can add a little bit of cadmium red to the golden ochre. And we want our paints to blend into each other, mixing together. We don't hold back on the paints. With broad strokes, we will paint the background quite widely, and then we will blend it with our fingers. Some strokes of carmine could actually be more like background berries. But I will tone down the brightness of the carmine with golden ochre. Let's move closer to the color of the lower square. Here we have white, indigo. I am adding dark red carmine. A little bit of brown can be used in the background. Carmine, ultramarine, indigo, and brown. The berries are framed with this color. I add a touch of carmine here because it appears in the purple color. Experiment and mix. For example, you can mix brown with pink. Add some golden ochre. I change the position of my finger so that the paints do not freeze in one direction. Brown is represented by burnt umber, and it could also be Mars brown. We constantly mix paints, so most of the time it doesn't matter significantly which specific color to use. And we will work with the details. Russian green is quite dark if it is not diluted with white. But we will also add some indigo. The darkness has run away, let's bring it back. And plus we have darkness, where the leaf will start, for example. Right now, we are not really working with leaves. We are working with dark spots that will frame our berries. We will mix dark red carmine with cadmium red. We are applying the first layer, middle color. At this stage, it is necessary to determine the size and placement. We have berries that are completely in the shade. You can even skip adding red. Let's choose some larger berries, those that are closer to us. We will detail those. And to jump ahead, I will say that we will smudge the background berries with our fingers. The level of detail will not be the same for each berry. With a medium shade of green, I suggest covering the remaining white spots on the canvas with white, green, and yellow. Who mixes ultramarine with yellow? Indigo with yellow and dark red carmine. Let's go straight from the top, but here this cherry can be slightly smudged. If you don't want to work with your fingers, just use the tip of the brush to slightly touch the background. Dark red carmine plus ultramarine. There is no need to darken yet. We are highlighting the central berries. This berry is set against a fairly dark background. Don't rush to lighten it. White paint is very capricious, but it can instantly eliminate all darkness. And we need darkness. Without it, there will be no light. I'll make this berry so that it doesn't clash with the others. Let it be slightly larger. We'll go over it with red. I pick up a little paint and make sure it doesn't stick out too much beyond the edge of the palette knife. But it's just a little, just enough for one berry. In terms of shape, not just vertically. Try to glide as much as possible. We leave the tips, but if the inside is a bit rough, you can either use a brush or your finger to smooth it out, so the inner part of our stroke remains blurred. There are two berries in the shadow, it seems, but here the small tip also glows. Here the berries are arguing with each other, as they say. They are poorly visible against each other. We need to return to the dark and add some darkness. Now let's start working with light. Light pink, like the color of the top square. You can even add a bit of coolness. What are we doing? We place a brush stroke and gently press it into the main paint. Then, without pressing, I add a highlight. Light is present to varying degrees on different berries, so in some places it is broader, while in others it is just a small dot. And here is a cool highlight. I will go right in with a little blue. Of course, it interacts. When working on a painting, you might notice that certain areas may fade into a bluish tone. This is a common occurrence, and it happens because of the way colors interact with each other on the canvas. Specifically, in some parts of the painting, you might see a bluish hue emerging. This is particularly true in the shadows where we have used ultramarine blue. Ultramarine is a deep, rich blue that can sometimes appear in unexpected places as you continue to work on your painting. However, don't worry about this too much. We will be adding pure blue separately to ensure that the colors remain vibrant and true to your vision. It's important to understand that the appearance of ultramarine in the shadows is a natural part of the painting process. As you work with light and add more layers, you might see this blue showing up in various places. This is all part of the creative journey. To help you better understand this process, let's look at an example. Imagine you are painting a landscape with a bright sky and deep shadows. In the shadows, you might initially use ultramarine to create depth and contrast. As you add more light and detail to the painting, you might notice that the ultramarine starts to show up in areas where you didn't expect it. This is because the layers of paint interact with each other in complex ways. To manage this, you can add pure blue in specific areas to balance the colors and achieve the desired effect. Remember, painting is an iterative process, and it's normal for colors to shift and change as you work. Don't be afraid to experiment and make adjustments as needed. Finally, we encourage you to share your progress and the final works you create. Be sure to send photos of your paintings to the School of Creativity. We love seeing the amazing art that our students produce, and sharing your work helps inspire others in their creative journeys. Keep experimenting, keep learning, and most importantly, keep creating. Your artistic journey is unique, and every brushstroke brings you closer to mastering your craft. We are always very happy about your successes. It's interesting to follow along and keep drawing with us. Until we meet again, friends, goodbye.